Now, ideas was to have something light and feel like you are not having anything for, and like again, really feel like this one is the one that gives you the most freedom and accessibility to all of the conditions. Get it? Really like, again, like really wanted to have something to keep the hand free, which I definitely think it helps so much when you are riding. It's definitely different than the battery, the lipo that you could find on the market on a DIY.
Welcome to the podcast. We've got Cyril on from Duotone. Today we're going to talk about their new Foil Assist product. So I want to kick off with a little bit of your background, Cyril. Can you tell us about where you've been, where you've come from, and what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, basically I'm originally from north part of France, like really it's called Dunkerque, like really north. I was really into kiteboarding, like really when I was young, and I've been like a pro, and I was in the tour for a few years, for 8 years or something. Then I moved to Maui when I was pretty young, around 16 or 17, and then starting traveling and go places to places for the tour, then start working for Nash for the R&D, for the kiteboarding parts for kites and boards. For a few years, I was there just working over there. Then I founded my own SUP brand in Europe, like mostly like distribution was in Europe, like really at the early stage of it. Then a few years after, I founded a brand it's called Takuma. It was a foil brand where we're doing some e-foil and also some foil boards and wing also. So I was the founder of that brand. Then I moved to Duotone for that project, for the Assist project, basically. So now it's like about a year. The project we were working on was a bit longer, but I entered to Duotone about a year ago. And I'm based in Japan, like a south part of Japan. We have like pretty good condition there, like really most south part. It's called like close to Miyazaki. It's really good actually to work on R&D here. There is not much people around, so it's pretty easy and easy to go like where we are producing some parts in Taiwan, some parts in Japan, some parts in China. So pretty easy to work when you are based in Japan. You can get like sample pretty quick and things pretty quick. So basically, yeah, that's where I am at the moment.
And what's your Japanese like? Did you know how to speak Japanese before you got there, or have you kind of learnt a bit as you've been there?
No, I learned when I was here. Basically, yeah, I have a kid, so basically I kind of try to learn with him. So yeah, that's how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an easy language at all. Yeah. And talking about the Duotone Foil Assist system, what sparked the idea for that? Was it market demand? Was it rider feedback and discussion, or was it some curiosity from an R&D point of view? Can we put this together?
Yeah, it's something like not a mix of everything, but I mean, I was coming from like electric, like from the e-foil, basically. So we always kind of wanted to have something lighter, something smaller to play in a wave, like all kind of like ideas that we could have in the past. This come from like years, like maybe 5 years, 6 years. Some stuff integrated in board, in mass, smaller, bigger, trying like a lot of different things. And coming from Duotone, I think they were looking for maybe some e-foil checking, I think for many years. It's not new for them actually, like kind of checking, but kind of looking if it was the right direction to go for them or not. Then I had like a lot of discussion with them for many years. We still like the CEO of Bosenmore of how we could do it. And I was kind of explaining, I was working on that and he was excited about it. He knew like for sure that this makes sense, mostly for Duotone, more than the proper e-foil. Then we kind of like have a discussion and it came like with that project and working on it, which it was like really good. I mean, we had some direction at that time, but then working with the full team at Duotone was like a big push. And like for sure, like when we are like a stronger team like they have, I think it's much better to come with the really good product at the end. So basically coming like from, I guess, like discussion and the marketing where like the market were changing a bit. So more like coming like this way, basically. Yeah.
So did the idea from it, was that sitting in your mind and you took it to Duotone, or was it something they've been thinking about for a long time and they knew you're the sort of the right person for it?
I think kind of both. I mean, they were like definitely wanted to do it. They had like many possibility, many options. And on my side, I had this one where I didn't know exactly like what I will do with it. I was for sure using it already. It's something I was like thinking for a long time. And we tried like different stuff before. And really feel like this one is the one that gives you the most freedom and accessibility to all of the condition. So I was using it, and then they were looking for something. So it's like basically like I was like comfortable with them, and it's definitely like a really good and solid company. So it was like perfect to join and make it together to make sure we have the best product, best distribution, best service. So basically it was kind of like on both sides, I would say, coming, and kind of like that's how we made it happen basically. Yeah.
And what does the R&D process look like? Not in great detail, but what does it look like to go from first prototype to kind of get to a final model when you're looking at this sort of product?
Yeah, it's definitely like a long process. I would say much longer than e-foil because you go in some like condition, like wave and like crashing, like small wave, big wave, so all kind of conditions. So for sure, it's a really long process to make everything happen. And we have like different ideas. I think it's also what you really want to do with the assist. I think it's something like always like, is it to learn how to foil? Is it something to push to go bigger wave? Is it something for the beginner or for like advanced rider? So this changed quite a lot. And I think it changed also the R&D of where you are going. That's why we took such long time, and we are going in one direction and after going in the other direction for the use of it from the last 3 years, I will say. For our R&D, just to explain a bit, but we are like basically, like I said, based in Japan. So the R&D is based between Japan and Taiwan, where we have an office in Taiwan where we are working with to do all of the samples so we can be like much faster. So basically we develop everything between Taiwan and Japan, where we have a lot of different conditions, which is pretty good. Not like just perfect wave, but we have all kind of wind and all kind of wave actually, which actually is pretty good to test an assist because you really want to make sure assist work in all kind of conditions. So this was actually pretty good. But for sure we had some like moment where it was like super good and exciting. And then all of a sudden, like some stuff like not working or like the batteries direction we wanted to go, which is like a big things for the assist. So all kind of direction, which is actually really exciting to do, but quite long. I mean, from the first to make one work, I would say is not that complicated. To make like one, I would say like prototype and go on the water and work. I think this is pretty easy, but make a like a proper one that you really want to use in all kind of condition and make it in production, that's a completely different story. So it's a kind of long process for this one, not just like making the product, but also build the proper factories, I will say, to also make the production proper, and which is, I will say, a even longer process than the R&D itself, I would say. It's part of the R&D, but
Yeah, yeah. And when did you, in that process, when did you have what you might consider your first breakthrough, your moment where you knew this thing was looking good and we could really go ahead with it?
So actually it was interesting because we had like 2 points, like we are ready with one at some point. And then inside of me, I was like, okay, I think we are not ready because I really want to have like an assist who is powerful to be able to use like really a small foil. That's really I will maybe explain a bit later, but that's definitely like what I wanted to have, like an assist. I could go in bigger wave or faster swell and use like a 500 or 600. That was really in my mind, like something I wanted to do. And we had one who is much less powerful at the beginning, which was working super good. And I was like, okay, I think we are ready. But inside of us, we're like, nah, I think it's not yet ready. So, okay, let's push a bit further. And then basically it took 1 more year, I would say, between the time where we had one to the one we was like completely finished. And I would say this was just a couple months ago, like a few months ago, where we had like the completely final one. And then after we put all the energy in the factory to have a proper process to produce it, like I said, which is, I think, super important for that product. It's not like super complicated product, but still, I would say like much more complicated than what we have in the water sport because, as you know, it's a like electric product on the water. It's for sure need a lot of things to work on and process to do. So yeah, it's been quite a long process with different direction. But now like coming with what I would say, like we are super stoked with what we have now.
So can you give us a bit of an overview? We'll deep dive. I've got lots of more questions about it, but just to kick off, a bit of an overview of the system itself and what does it consist of?
Yep. Sure. I think I think this was part of the R&D is we didn't want to add any weight on the board. I think it's one of the things we were like definitely like wanted to do. I mean, we try some on the board inside top plate, kind of like things existing, but definitely we wanted to avoid that, to keep a board super light and to keep a board thin, like, keep a proper prone board, like pretty thin to have something light under the foot. And that's why we come up with the ideas of having the weight in our waist. So we try with the backpack, we try with the harness. So now we go with the harness system where we definitely feel like where we feel the less weight possible. So when you are riding for downwind, I will say they could care less, but I think for the wave, you really want to have the weight a little bit more down on your body for to be like completely free of movement. So I think it's definitely like one of the most energy we put on. It's to have like a safe and proper system in our waist. So that's definitely like it was a big process for this one, not just like attach a battery and down. So we had like a lot of different things to go on. But I would say this one is one of our main things in our product, in our Duotone Assist. Then after we have a lot of things, and we can talk a bit now, but like let's say our remote, it was a bit same. Like we wanted to be completely free hand, to be able to duck dive, to be able to open the hand, to have like completely free movement and not having a remote in a hand, which is something we had before and we tested. I mean, we had an Ito with Takuma before and always keeping like a remote. It was not feeling that comfortable. So really the idea was to have like completely free hand, and you can grab a paddle, you can grab a handle, you can duck dive easily, you can still paddle. So that's completely like, again, like going like completely free with the system. It's something we didn't want to add weight. We didn't want to add like something in a hand, like being completely free with the product.
So how does that remote work? I've seen a little bit of footage of people wearing it on one of their fingers and using their thumb, I think, but I haven't seen anyone really talk in detail about how it actually functions speed-wise and all that kind of thing. How do you control it?
Uh, I can show it here, but
Great.
just to explain a bit, it's basically like a watch, like I would say like an Apple Watch or something that you have on your wrist, and you have like a small ring, basically where you put your finger in with a plus and minus system. So pretty simple. We have like 7 speed on the boost mode. So we have two mode, like a standard mode and the boost mode. So we go up to 7 speed. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 easily. It's just a click on it and you keep pressing for the safety. And as soon as you release, everything will stop. So it's like pretty simple system. It's nothing too complicated. Really like, again, like really wanted to have something to keep the hand free, which I definitely think it helps so much when you are riding, like to this hand open, to have like free movement. That's clearly really helps. So the system, it's nothing like crazy, but I think it really, when you are using it, it's definitely like completely changed. So kind of have to be a little bit used to it. Let's say like your first session to get used to it, because it's a speed. You have to keep pressing. You have the plus, the minus. You have to jump to one and the other. But when you are used to it, which I would say like in 20 minutes, and you get like used to the system, then definitely like something good and pretty safe also, because you can, to start, you have to double click it. So it's not like if you are carrying your board or something, it's not like you click and the engine's going to turn on. So we have like some little bit safety system also on the remote. That's actually really important not to do. Like, I mean, when you carry your board, it's easy to press the button, or it could be a trigger or something. So this is something also like a safety that we have on our remote, but pretty easy system. As soon as you press on, it direct going to turn. Our system has, I mean, we can talk a bit after that, but kind of a lot of torque. It's pretty powerful. So already speed one, you will feel like you start like already with speed. So pretty easy. It's not, doesn't jump too much between speed. So it's actually super comfortable even for beginner to use it. And at the end, they really felt like actually easier to have speed this way, because they can really focus on what they do, like not like a trigger. Sometimes a little bit could be a little bit harder to have the perfect speed or perfect position or something. So from like all kind of tests that we did, and already now like a lot of test our system, and they really feel comfortable with it. Just a little bit time, I would say like 20 minutes or the first session, just to get used to it, basically.
Yeah, I've certainly heard of, I've heard of triggers getting stuck on because springs have broken or something in the mechanism. But I've also heard of people getting in trouble, and when they panic, they kind of grab the trigger and squeeze it, which does the opposite of what they're hoping it will do, really. And it gets pretty dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what we had on the East. I know. Yeah, that's what we had in the e-foil. And I could see like for years, the guy could use like trigger. And like you said, you fall and you want to press on something. So yeah, on our system, basically you cannot. And if you fall, then the system going to stop also. So which is pretty good. The harness is touching water. I mean, being underwater or same for the remote, then the system going to stop. So it's also like a system like really safe. I mean, there's still a propeller and stuff, but for an assist, I think it's we really try to have like as many safety parts on the
And
product.
what's the weight and power output and runtime? All the questions that people top of mind will fire at you, I'm sure, because that's always talked about with these things. So if you can give us a bit of a rundown of that, I think our listeners would love that.
It's interesting part. Talk about the weight just to get an idea. Basically, a battery, it's pretty small, but it's about 1 kilo for our battery. And our system works with 2 batteries. And so it's about like 2 kilos of batteries. And we have the box plus the cable, the leash. I would say all this is about 1 kilo. So it's like you basically have with the harness and everything, it's pretty balanced, but about 3 kilo adding basically on your system, on your, like say, the regular foil, plus the motor, which is about 1.5 kilo, I will say, with all of the system. So you will add like 4.5 in the complete system, but clearly you will definitely not even feel it. I mean, on the beach, the guys are carrying the harness and said, oh, okay, you have some weight. But as soon as you wear it and you go on the water, honestly, it's not just it's not a marketing talk, but clearly it was 100% of the guys were saying, well, actually, we don't even feel it. Like it's basically you have nothing and the leash is attached to the harness. So basically you have nothing on the foot, which anyway, we didn't have much option. I mean, because we wanted to make sure the leash was shorter than the cable, not to damage the cable. So we have the leash integrated in our system. And at the end, it feels pretty good. And when you go back to like a leash where you have to attach to your foot or your knee, then you actually feel it could be like almost more annoying. So we have the system really on a harness where it's super easy to stand up. You have nothing. You cannot like have the leash under your foot or nothing. So at the end, really feel again free, easy to use that part. So yeah, talking about the weight, we said about like 4 kilo, 4.5 kilo in total, but balance between the mast and the harness, basically. On the power, autonomy and all this. So our system is really powerful. So we have like different blade option. So we have some plastic option, 2 blade, aluminium, 2 blade. And we have a 3 blade that's going to come little like 1 month after the release. But that give like actually quite much more power. So in terms of thrust, we could be like 35, I would say, if we need to talk about the thrust. So it's actually really powerful system that we have. And these come a lot. I mean, it's easy to just set up. I mean, the battery, the motor we use, and all the things we are like coming. And I think batteries, we can talk about it when we talk about the running time. But yeah, it's something like, again, like our system is really powerful. I would think like clearly the most powerful that we have at the moment, mostly in terms of weight and all this. I think it's clearly like powerful. I mean, I can use a 600, no problem, to go in the wave. That's what I use. I'm about 85 kilo and it's really zero problem to do it. So it's basically my foil I use most of the time. In terms of running time, that's always the huge question. I mean, everyone for sure wants to know and talk about it, but it's can just change so much, like depending the boards you're going to use, the foil you're going to use, how many takeoff and how you're going to manage your takeoff with the product, that can change by double, basically. So if we need to say like, let's say like you have a small foil, small board that you're going to go, maybe you will do like 35 to 40 minutes for a session. And then if you use like a little bit bigger board, a little bit bigger foil, or you are more advanced, then or like being careful like how you use the system, you can easily do an hour, or for sure the lighter rider going to use it for sure more than that. But it's basically like what I will say, like I use it most of the time for 50 minutes because I know how to use it. I know how to make sure I'm not always like full speed. So I use it, yes, about like, about that time for like using a 600 basically. So, and yeah, 85 kilo. Yeah, yeah. So it's just give some guide, but it's not like completely accurate because it's really depend of how you use, I mean, like the phone you're going to use, if you use 900 or 1500 or 600, it's going to be like completely different stories. So, but yeah, basically if you want to go in the wave and use like your small foil, you will do like 45 minutes. Let's say this way. If you want to use smaller foil and bigger and always full speed, more like 35, 40 minutes. And then if you bigger foil and do an hour or more, but it's about this. But already like with that time, you can catch like tons of waves. I'm not talking about downwind because this you can use for an hours and hours. So this is a different story, but I would say for wave, that's about this. And we have another one, like a cruise mast. So more like with the pod and the motor down. So this one, I would say you're going to do like a bit less because it's more like regular pull, not always full speed, but I would say more like between 35 to 45 minutes for the cruise mast, like non-stop use, I would say. Yeah. With a average size foil and average board, basically. Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of propellers options, the plastic, the metal, and a three. What's the think between those three?
So the system going to be delivered with the plastic blade. So it's 2 sets of it. For all of the sets would be the D-Lab or the alloy assist. Coming on that, I think already with our 2 blade, it's really powerful already. Like no need to go and think I have to go 3 blade on. Really not. Our 2 blade is pretty powerful. We have a gear inside the blade to make sure like they reopen as soon as you are like engaging the motor. Then if the pod is on the water, then it's going to directly open with the gear on it. So this is actually really good. So you don't land and like take time to open. It's like directly going to reopen on the system. I would say like to have like clearly difference. I think if you are like under 80 kilo and you don't want, or under 90 kilo and don't want to use a small foil, the 3 blade is almost useless and will be too powerful. So when you're going to jump the speed, you're going to really feel like you accelerate clearly. And the 2 blade, the plastic one, which I really like for give like a little bit of, it's not soft, but it's smooth when you're going to go. So I think for sure, definitely everyone who's going to learn with it, it's much better to use the plastic blade, not only for the safety of it, but clearly because it gives this extra comfort when you want to take off or re-engage the motor. So I think this is clearly the best one that I will recommend for everyone and that I can use no problem. But then if you come like, okay, I wish I have a little bit more torque, then the aluminium will give a bit more torque in it, like a bit more power to go. And that's why we have like the option in aluminium for this plastic one with the gear also in it, which goes like actually going to give, I don't know, I would say like 15% more thrust in the product, which is already quite a lot on it. So I think this aluminium, yeah, I do recommend for some guys who are going to go in the wave and need a little bit more push in it. So I think this one will be perfect. And also for the open ocean, if you wanted to downwind, just from experience, I think I do recommend for safety to use the aluminium one because you don't know what you can find outside. I mean, a piece of wood or whatever. Then if you hit it, you could damage like easily the plastic blade. It's injected, so it's not just plastic. It's injected with fiber in it. So it's pretty stiff, but this can still happen. So I would say like if you go like open ocean, I do recommend the aluminium blade for the safety of it. So you don't damage the blade and easy to continue. Like if you hit something that's actually pretty safe for that use of it. And then we have the 3 blade, which is a different blade. It's not, we didn't add another one. It's a completely different design because we really wanted to have something, I would say like more powerful and more speed in it. Yeah, with this one, it's definitely like for the heavier riders, like let's say 100 kilo or more. I think this will give this extra push. I would say it's like 30% more thrust when we are like full batteries. So which is really quite a lot. Our blade are pretty big. It's not a small blade. It's pretty big blade. Or if you want to use a really small foil, then definitely the 3 blade is the one. If you want to go bigger wave, you want to use like 500, 600 foil, then I think it will definitely be the best. It will work with the 2 blade, but then you're going to be on speed 7 all the time, which you're going to burn a lot of batteries. But using the 3 blade, it's basically 2 speed less. So if you're on 7, you're going to be on 5, which you're not going to push on the motor and on the battery. So basically you're going to have a longer running time when you are using like that kind of foil or like tiny board, or if you are a little bit heavier. So yeah, that's something like to have a clear ideas about those three options. Yeah.
And what about, I think I've heard mention of a kind of a guard that's available. I think in other foil assist options, people tend not to use them because they think it lowers the power quite a bit, although they are obviously a good safety option. What have you found regarding that, and what have you designed around that if people do want to use one?
So yeah, we have the guard. So this one is mostly, we didn't talk yet, but more for the cruise one, for the like let's say e-foil type, but we call it cruise. It's definitely something that I recommend all the time because I will think that the cruise with the mast, when the mast is down, it's actually more dangerous than the assist when the pod is up because it's just under the board when you talk about the assist one. But on the cruise, definitely like the foot can be under. So I feel like a little bit more dangerous same as hitting the foil or something. It can happen quite often. So the guard is really important to have. So we have that option for the cruise system. It's something actually that we worked a lot before when we were working on e-foil to have like the most efficiency on this guard. Because as you said, like you could lose quite a lot of power with it. So we spend actually a lot of time to design this one, the proper profile to be like protected enough for the propeller. So we still have a little bit less, I will say, like a power on the system with it, but not too much. Honestly, it's a little bit, but not too much. So we always recommend, it's always better if you want to keep exactly the same running time with or without, to use maybe one size foil bigger. Then you're going to have exactly the same runtime and the same power to lift, basically. But it's not like that draggy. Honestly, you can use in a wave and let go, and still like folding propeller can still ride even in a wave, even if you want to pop and stuff. So it's actually pretty good to use and not like, you're not going to feel much. It's super noisy also how we design it, which sometimes some propeller could make the system quite noisy, but with the guard we have, it's actually keep exactly the same. So yeah, safety, it's definitely something I will push. It's deliver with the assist. So the one we deliver, it's a direct deliver with the system. And I do recommend actually to use it until, if you really want to go wave with it, maybe with the cruise, maybe not really need, but I do recommend to use it most of the time. Yeah, for sure.
And we were talking about sort of run times and batteries before. Maybe we should look at that in a little bit more detail. I understand there's 2 batteries that go into the system. In your work, you must have looked at all sorts of different sizes of batteries to kind of work with, thinking about runtime and how people are going to judge it. What does it come with, and how did you come to that decision on the ideal size?
The really, like, again, our ideas was to have something light and feel like you are not having anything. Like, again, it was really our concept. It's not to have like huge batteries to be able to use it for 2 hours, but having something heavy on you and heavy on the board. It's not something we wanted to do. Really, definitely wanted to have something the most powerful with the lightest weight. So we try all kind of batteries before we decide to go with those ones. So we have two of them because we can travel with it and talk about this, but which is really important because I think when you have an assist, definitely you want to travel. If you are able to travel, it's definitely you want to travel with your system. So we can travel with 2 batteries, no more than 2. But that's allowed in an airplane, but we can have like those one. And our batteries are actually really powerful. It's a high voltage battery. So like a nominal, I would say like we are like 45.6 volt, which is like a pretty high voltage compared to what existing at the moment. And we have this that's why our system can be that powerful and we can keep that power that long, because if you have like a battery with not high voltage, you can have like power at the beginning, but I would say like 50 minutes after, then you're going to have less energy. Our system, we wanted to keep that high, like all of the running time or almost all of the running time. We say like the last 15 minutes, you can have a little bit less and maybe you have to use like one speed up, but still we really can keep the power of the system really long. And that's why we went with these batteries for that. We wanted to have like something powerful that you can use all of the system and at as light as possible. So our battery need a little bit more maintenance than proper battery existing on the e-foil, I would say, the Lion, and we have the Lipo we have. So we need to kind of keep them in a storage mode. So we have like a smart charger. It's super simple. You press we have just 2 buttons. So it's like super easy to do it. But our system need a little bit more, I would say, not maintenance, but care of the battery to make sure like we're going to keep them long. That's actually what we have on our system. But on the other hand, we have something definitely powerful and super light. And that's what we wanted to do for this product. Something that yeah, again, like power and light. That's definitely what we wanted to have. We cannot exactly compare with if you compare with the existing at the moment, it's hard to compare it because we went in a different direction. And with a super high voltage, I would say battery, not super high, but we call it high voltage batteries to have this power enough and push enough for our system. So basically similar to some drone using basically, like a drone need to be light and need to be powerful, like, like those big drone. So it's basically the same direction we go, like something that give you push and something really light. Yeah.
Is it a different type of lithium battery to what's typically used? Because I heard something about one of the concerns people might have is they're wearing a lithium battery, and there's a lot of discussion around lithium batteries and heat and fire, and people might go to the extreme in thinking about it. But you've used, I think, from what I understand, a different type of lithium battery than many have used. Is that right?
So yeah, there's like two type of batteries. So we went for the LiPo, the HV LiPo, basically, with our own system, own BMS to control it, plus the case that we have on it. So we have like a full aluminium and control battery. So it's not just like the DIY, I would say, the batteries that you can find. I mean, we have like a proper system, proper certification we need to pass through with the process. So it's not like, I know there is some concern and guys said, oh, okay, you're going to wear like a battery on you, but yes, but actually it's like completely safe. It's no problem with it. Our battery, if really something happened, it's going to consume. It's not going to be like fire. It's going to consume. It's a bit stinky for sure, but it's going to consume and not like completely burn, as you could see, like on e-foil. It happened many times before. So it's not like a dangerous battery that we are using, and we are being like super careful for that. So that's why we also have an extra box on it, like a shock-proof box that definitely like need to be proper locked. Then we put a neoprene cover on top. So we have like all kind of process to make sure that there is no like a problem for or damaging, or like people can think like it could be worse, but it's actually not. We have even a release system on our harness. So it's like quick release, but it's not definitely not something to be worried about on our batteries. I know some people are talking and I could see it already on some forum, but definitely not something to be worried. It's definitely different than the battery, the LiPo that you could find on the market on a DIY doing. It's a completely different system, different batteries. We have all of this safety device. That's why we develop actually our own complete battery and complete pack. We are making it ourselves to make sure we can control every stage and every step. So it's definitely something we put one of the most energy in, like choosing the proper battery, the safe way to approach it. So it's definitely like a long discussion. And I think on the forum, you're going to find like million different vision ideas or things to do, but it's definitely like where we go. And the two system we have for the guys who are kind of like into it, because if you see like a picture of our batteries, it's like 22.8 volts, but actually like we combine two. So that's why we have like a high voltage. So we do like 2 times the voltage. We keep the 7 amp hour, but we double the voltage in it. And this is definitely much better for our process, for the power of it. So it can be like a long, long discussion about the batteries. And I'm sure it's something people want to know and want to get deep into it. But our system could be different than the things existing. So that's why some might going to say like, because I read it on the forum, like, oh yeah, no, you're never going to be able to do an hour with it. Yeah, we do. And because we have this capacity with those battery actually to use them as the maximum of it. So we actually do it this way. So we're not going to come with million batteries. Actually, we wanted to keep it like super simple. If you want to do 2 hours, then we do think it's like so easy to change the battery on the beach. Just like open the box, take out the batteries, put it. It's like not even a minute to do it, maybe 20 seconds. So we do think it's better to do it this way and keep something as light possible with you. That I do think adding a weight on the product that can damage the sport itself. And that's the direction I really didn't want to go, to make sure we can really keep the proper feeling of foiling. That's really what I wanted to keep from the beginning of that project and to the end. It's definitely what we did.
Yeah. And I suppose one of the other things, just staying on kind of the battery and the fact that you're wearing it on your waist, one of the other things people talk about is, well, you fall in and you've got this weight on your waist. What does that mean in terms of staying afloat in the water? So maybe you can comment on that.
Actually, it's even opposite, because we are like the foam on our harness. It's a super floaty. So actually this gives you an extra floatability. So it's not going to puts you down with the weight on. It's actually like really floaty with the box plus with the harness on. It's actually like give you like extra, I'm not going to call it safety because we don't want to go in that direction with the harness, but it's actually give you like a little bit of floaty on you. And if you release, then the harness is completely floaty. So it's actually not even a question about that direction. It's actually all good for that. Yeah. And we did a lot of talking about safety and crash and things we went into like so many process as we really designed also the assist to be able to go in a bigger wave, which is something some guys like. Not for everyone, for sure, but I think it's something it was important to have instead of having a jet ski to get tow in bigger wave. Then we can clearly do it now with the assist, even safer because you can escape like really fast. And we did like some shooting with Matei Drole, in Tahiti, and he was going like some barrel in Tupou. And so when we talk about like solid crash and pounded, it was like actually really good to see that, and didn't have any problem. And one time he has release and no problem and get it back and get out again. So it's really like again a product that we designed to be able to go in all kind of condition for like a beginner to enter to the sport, for flat water with the cruise, to extreme wave like a Tupou or bigger, or downwinding, which now I only do downwind with it, which I was like so much into downwind before, like a paddling and a longer board. And now I just have so much fun with that and I can go forever. Mostly what I like is I can go upwind, which I think it's another way sometimes of doing downwind. You can maybe do like a little bit shorter, you can go to the beach, go your upwind, downwind. It's actually like something I really love about our assist. It doesn't damage anything. And keeping the board thin also, something like we always talk in our R&D team. It's we really want to keep the board thin. So we don't want to have like a bigger board because we are using assist. Actually, I can use like smaller board on my assist. That's what I could use before on the Pro, and at least much thinner. So you have like more control and the pumping, it's easier. And so it's definitely like all of this kind of aspect that we really wanted to do with that product. Yeah.
So it's probably a good segue. I mean, I want to talk about masts and options and things like that, but you're talking about the board. It's probably a good segue to talk about this midfish board that you've designed. Design reminds me of the very old, surfboards, but even some of the 80s wave windsurf boards that were around at the time. So yeah, talk us through that design and why is it that kind of V on the back? What was the thinking, etc.?
Yeah. So talking about the full concept of that board. So yes, it's a mid-length. I think the mid-length goes super well with the assist. So it's helped clearly to take off, keep it like the board narrow. So if you want to carve, that's definitely like also like much better when you are on 18 instead of on 20. It's definitely like a big difference, and keep the board thin. So it's a mid-length prone, I will say, not a mid-length. It's clearly like a mid-length prone, so pretty thin. Also under the foot, which feels really good when you are riding. It was like two directions for that fishtail. At least the wide tail. I really wanted to keep the board wide, like on the back foot, to be like for the guys who want to have like change the position, like I would say, like should the name, but like to have like be able to have like space on the back foot, which I think this was really important for us for this board, to be able to go in a wave and have that possibility and not a thin tail where you are like kind of stuck with your back foot. So this one you can clearly move it. So this was kind of important one. Second one is the box is pretty front forward on the board, which is really good when you want to take off, because you have like some volume on the tail, volume on the nose, so you are really well balanced. So it's good for the running time of the battery because you are not pushing too much. And second, it's like much easier when you are not like a pro and you are like want to get into it. It's really good to have balance between front and back foot without sinking the tail or like sinking the nose. So this we really feel it was really important. And as soon as you take off, basically you have like almost nothing on like the nose part is much shorter. So it's like super playful board. So I think this was actually pretty good to have this fish tail. It's not just because we like it or because it's old style or new style or snowboarding or not, even if it's like getting much more popular even now again, like on the surf oriented. Actually not for that, but it was to have also like the option to have the cable coming from our harness to have like a guide in the board directly. So, and to be like not too long cable. So basically we have like a little bit longer leash with it, so which is pretty comfortable to have. And then the cable doesn't go on one or the other side. Even you have some guide and deliver with the board if you want to use your board, like whatever board will work with. But we really designed this one to be able to use at its best with the assist. So that's why we have like this fish tail on it. At the bottom is like we have like a different concave and different things to make sure like when a touchdown goes like super well also. So everything is like proper integrated and clean. So the touchdown is actually super soft and comfortable when you are like landing. Is like boom, and you can lift again. And because it's a kind of light board, so it's good. And we have 4 sizes for this one, the 38, 48. That I would say this one is like proper for like to go in a wave mostly. Like clearly, like I can use also on a prawn, actually like easy and mid length, like super good prawn because you can catch wave easily. So that works pretty good. And the 2 bigger size that we have now is like 58 and 78. And we have like foot strap insert, like front foot strap insert. So if you want to also use it for wing, if you like to use it with foot straps, or if you want to use it like for para winging or something like this, then it also work really well for that. Yeah, that's kind of like the story of that board, but definitely works super good. It's pretty thin, so which is pretty good for like I would say like an assist board. You can really keep it thin, and our system doesn't add any plate or anything. So it's really like a direct connection with the foil again. So it's something we clearly wanted to have. Yeah.
It's certainly very light. I've sort of seen one. I think one was being shown around a demo. One was kind of being shown around some shops, and I just happened to time it right. I wasn't any sort of VIP. I was just in the right place at the right time, so I got to see the board, and it felt incredibly light. So again, it's minimizing weight.
Yeah, that's exactly. So we can also really wanted to have. That's why on the 2 small size we didn't even put any insert, like a strap insert. Really wanted to keep it as light as possible with the best construction on it to be like really like a premium but light performance to use with the assist. We designed it to be light, so we really wanted. I mean, the weight on the product on every water sport. I mean, maybe the toe board for a huge weight, but the rest of it, you definitely want to have something as light as possible. So I think it's definitely the direction we wanted to go with the complete line.
Yeah. Look, I know weight's important, and I always think of mountain bikes, and people spend a lot of money on a carbon mountain bike because they're lighter. And occasionally I think, well, you could actually lose a little bit of weight yourself, and that would be a lot cheaper, you know. We forget that we have control over our own body weights as well, of course, but we pay all this money to get light stuff, but we could, yeah, I suppose they're always trying to go lighter, and losing weight's not always easy to do for most of us. So.
It's good to have that light feeling under the foot always. That's definitely something you really want to do for pumping, for wave, to take off, for whatever takeoff you want to have. It's definitely like a big change to have everything super light under the foot. Definitely. Yeah.
Let's look at masts now. You've got aluminium mast and you've got a D-Lab carbon version. If you can talk through kind of the specs of those, and what was the thinking between having those 2 options?
Yeah. So in the aluminium line, we have like these 2 options. So the assist one with the pod, the motor with like a 17 centimeter below the top plate. And we have the one we call cruise, which the pod is 17 centimeter up the fuselage. So like more like e-foil style. So we have those ones. So we design actually those profile. So the aluminium profile to be really like, I would say like surf oriented. So again, like this system, I feel like you really want to play with an assist. You really want to have something like loose and really playful. So we design our own mast really for that, for the assist, something like stiff and really playful. Basically, that's what we have. It's definitely like fast enough for wave, or it's not something you're going to use on a kite race, definitely, but it's something like for sure, like really good feeling, really playful profile. So which was really important for us. And the good part of the aluminium also, we have the option to put basically, I mean, say not all brand adapters, but most of it. So we have like, you can just slide the adapter inside of aluminium mast, and you can use whatever foil that you have, like not 100% existing, but basically like most of the main brand that we have, we have this option. So you can keep your foil, whatever brand you have, and you can put it directly on the aluminium one, which I think it's a good plus because we have everything integrated, super clean. I mean, there's no cable outside the mast, which definitely something we wanted to have. We integrated the motor really inside the mast also. So we don't have like a long motor like outside of the mast. And we keep something we really worked on after all of the testing we are doing. We keep the leading edge of the mast really clean. And we felt like when you are doing the touchdown, like when the pod is touching, it's a huge difference between having like the pod touching the leading edge and having the pod more like on the profile of it. I mean, it was definitely like a huge difference that we have. So definitely we had it to find us a way to make it happen and to integrate it inside of it. And that's what come up with the aluminum one. So the aluminum one is, I would say, a little bit heavier than the carbon, and we can talk about the D-Lab we have, but it's definitely something that it's a high performance mast, because we really wanted to make sure that someone coming maybe from another brand and normally use the carbon one, that can feel really comfortable with the aluminum. So that's why we definitely put quite a lot of energy to have this aluminum mast, like really perform really good for the assist. A little bit heavier for sure than the carbon. Definitely we cannot do better, but definitely something that you will feel like really good with it, even if you are using a carbon mast on the proper normal foiling. And then we have this D-Lab mast, which is definitely like the high end of the product. So it's 84 centimeter mast. So it's also like a 17, the pod is integrated at 17 centimeter under the top plate, which we feel it's the right spot. Our blade are quite long. So it's always like, even if you are like popping up, down, you're going to have like enough torque to always fly. So it's not going to stall direct. So really feel it's a sweet spot for everything. Basically with the 84, I think it was the proper one. It's a high modulus for sure mast. It's the same profile as the one that we use on a normal D-Lab mast also. So it's exactly the same with the integration. For sure we work on the layup and stuff, but this one is definitely completely integrated in the profile, clearly like inside of it. So for touchdowns, I mean, you don't even feel it, honestly, when you are like, I mean, you can know it's touching, but it's not going to stop you. So you know, but it's not like, whoa, okay, I'm going to fall or anything like this. It's just like pop, go. So when you're riding wave, which is like really important to have something that doesn't stop you, this one is definitely like a next level. Like for that, it's really, really like unreal and perfect for that. But this one, not only for Duotone, but the system, the base is a Duotone based to be on all of the Duotone foil. And for the Armstrong client, it's also possible because their system was a bit different than other. So we basically have the fuselage to fit. It's a complete fuselage basically that you can fit on the front wing and back wing of Armstrong. So we have this option also, but only for them. And most of it is for Duotone foil, which now like we do have the proper line of foil, which is really exciting and came up at the perfect time actually all together. So it's really exciting to have this crest coming with the assist almost at the same time, which is matched so well with the assist.
Yeah, I spoke to the Duotone Foil designers, and they weren't able to tell me too much, but they were saying, there's foils coming that are going to be working perfectly with the system. Yeah,
the crest, and it's really good for it. Yeah, really good. So that's our two option. But one thing also, like talking about all of those masts, is everything is like super modular. So it's like super easy to take out the motor and to plug it in other systems. Same for the cable. So it's like 4 screws for the cable and the 3 screws for the motor. So it's like super, like in 2 minutes, basically, you can have like let's say like the assist, the D-Lab, let's say, and you want to go on vacation in the lake with your family or whatever. And then you can have this cruise, but you can buy only the mast, which is with the top plate already integrated in, but keep exactly the same system. So you can take the motor from the D-Lab, the top plate, the cable from the D-Lab. So everything is like super modular in our system. We really wanted to keep it simple and everything work with everything. So the same battery, the same box, the same cable, same leash, same motor, same belt. So everything same, super easy to stay in this world without having like tons of things. So, which I think it's really important to have this option for the system. I think it's really something we definitely work on.
So you can basically go from a foil assist to an e-foil effectively just by buying another mast, and you swap the motor over. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, motor and cable and all of the system. So, which is like actually, I mean, the mast itself is not so expensive when we talk about the assist world. So I think it's definitely something we kind of wanted to definitely have for the system. Yeah, to be able to, because I guess like there's a good market and good amount of clients or user can use the cruise one, which I think is definitely like really good to learn and to go in a wave, your first wave. I think it's definitely like a really good one to have. And then if you want to progress, you just buy the assist mast in D-Lab or in aluminium, and then for not so much more. And you have like these 2 options, but you can change on the beach in, we say 2 minutes, you change it. So it's super simple. Yeah.
How likely is it that in the future, and maybe this is, a bit ahead of time, that you'll have other options, not just having the Armstrong one being able to go to the carbon mast, that you'll actually, that one might have other brands that can go on that. Is that being thought about? I mean, you don't have to sort of mention brands, but is that a possibility or unlikely?
I mean, it's not so complicated, I will say, to do it. I think we already give quite a lot of option for brand to be able, for the guys to be able to use our system. So really like trying our best to fit to that market, to be like kind of open mind on that. We have like to believe so much in our system that have like everyone to be able to use it without changing everything. So that was the really like open mind on that. I mean, I'm pretty sure because I already know some guys might gonna do like a CNC, a fuselage is not that difficult. I mean, there is many good guys doing this for all of the brand, like accessories, adapters and these kind of things. So maybe that's, I guess it's going to pop up there and there, I guess. But in our direction, I think we already offer quite a lot of option for that. It's just the Armstrong was different. It's not like we wanted to do it for Armstrong. It's just because the system they use, it's a bit different. And at the end, it was matching our system. So that's why the Armstrong client can basically use both. But yeah, we came up in that way, basically.
What package options are available at launch?
Yeah, like we have like the option to have it with as a package, to have it with the board, with the foil, and with the assist. So we're gonna have like all different kind of option package. If you want to go like full on into assist world, then you can definitely like have the full concept with the midfish, with the assist, and with our foil. Or if you have your own board, own foil, then you can also like decide basically like which one you want, as our system works in all the boards existing. Maybe not the pumping board, but like proper volume one to like a downwind board. So basically, yeah, the package will be different option to have like or just the assist or to the complete full package, the foil, the board, and the assist. That's what we can have. We don't have like an option. That's something could be like interesting when we talk about the battery, because some guys ask if we have an option to basically about 2 sets of batteries. So basically, because our charging time, we didn't talk about it, but it's pretty fast. It's about an hour, but if you're in storage mode, in what you have to do, it's only 30 minutes. So basically, it's a pretty fast charging. So some guys were asking, okay, can I charge my battery when I do my session? And then basically like never stop. So if I want to do a 5-hour session, then actually it's possible. So I think a lot of guys are kind of considering to maybe buy like a second set of batteries. I would say like the option that could kind of make sense to keep going if you want to do it. So that's actually a good option for our system. I think instead of having like a big battery, more expensive, is having like the 2 set. But we don't have the pack at the moment for that. It's just like an extra package. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I've seen people do it with existing systems. They've got another set. They come in, have a little rest, a bit of a chat with people on the shore, and then load up and out they go again. And it looks like it's pretty, as you said, it's pretty easy to take those batteries in and out. It's a bit like one of those action cameras where you just kind of unclip it, pull them out, slot them back in, and away you go, basically.
And go again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's super fast. It's not even a minute to do it. So easy to take them out, put back. That's it, and go charge and go again. That's the good. Yeah, it's a good process.
Who do you see as the main audience for your foil assist system? I mean, you're downwinding. Do you think it's proners, downwinders, or is it a whole range, depending what people want to do with it?
Since we start to talk about it, because our goal was to really like be able to have one for everything, basically. That's what I was saying at the beginning. And clearly, actually, it is. I mean, it's happening already, because like Duotone is a big company, like a distribution everywhere. So we had like already quite a lot of feedback, and we let some guys use for like already like 4 or 5 months, use our system, and it was for the feedback and all this. And clearly see like different countries, different feeling also, and different condition, which it was like really interesting. Like the cruise is definitely like good audience for flat water, but also for swell riding and all this, which we were not sure at the beginning, like how it will be like accepted as an assist word for Duotone, which is really coming for water sport performance. And actually there is like clearly like a good audience on that. We clearly feel it, and even enter in the e-foil market, which the guys are like, okay, I live on the boat. E-foil is too heavy, and this one is so good. I just like throw everything on the water, easy to put it in and out. So it's actually like super good for that. So it's hard to say for which direction. I think each country, each places, each condition, I really do think there is a big plus to have this assist. And it's clearly, actually, we kind of feel it. So I guess the first one is going to jump on. Maybe it's going to be the guy going to go on a wave, because like super exciting, and they will direct feel like they can go like catch like bigger wave or catch like not even rolling swell, which is like far from crab, which is like definitely like so good. So I guess the first guy, I will say like maybe it's going to be those one. Then they're going to direct feel like it's just so good to you to downwind with. And then when your friend is like with a big board, big foil, and you with like with your 30, 40 or 58 liters on me and like a two size down from your friend, then I would definitely think that's also going to come quite a lot into the downwind field, as it is definitely like much easier than any other sport. And power winging is for sure like big, and it's like people exciting about it, but I love it also. But definitely like with the assist, you can do it like easily, even smaller foils, smaller boards. So I have even more fun with it, to be honest. So yeah, it's really kind of hard to say. And some guys coming from Duotone, which was interesting, that they clearly want to use this one to teach winging. So basically using like big board, and then they feel like it's easier to use with a wing, even when the teacher or the coach is using the remote basically, and they are like just like standing up on the board and the teacher is pressing, and the guy is like clearly like just have to focus on his balance and on the wing, which to be honest, at the beginning, I was not even thinking about it. I was like, didn't design it like for this direction. And then felt like, oh yeah, actually it does work super good when you use a big board and the guy learning with it. It's, I mean, as you know, winging, the hardest part at the beginning is the takeoff, and you don't necessarily want to use like a huge foil. So it's also like a good audience, I think, in that direction. So it's kind of hard to clearly answer for which audience, as I think it does fit for Mate, which goes like a big wave into your pot, to completely beginner or flat water winging. So kind of like, but that's what I like about that project also. It's kind of like combine everything, and it's like so much fun. I mean, I see a lot of guys now using our system when we did like some meeting and stuff. It's just like a lot of the stoke they have after after they use it. This is like just like really good. Like, yeah, that's definitely fun.
Well, certainly you got some very good promotion. I think when on the east coast of Australia, they had a foil fest, and one of the categories in that festival was prone foil assist. And you had one person on your system, everyone else on another system, and your guy won the foil fest. Comes running in when he was getting his award. Come running in with the battery belt held above his head, and yeah, that got people talking. So that was pretty effective.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, having no weight on the board that allow you to do quite a lot. I mean, I think I ride better with the system than what I was be able to do on the Pro, because I can use just a smaller foil, and that I will be harder to pump on a 550 or whatever. It would be like kind of tricky to do it. And I can now clearly do it with the assist, which is like for me, like completely a game changer in that direction. Could progress just so much with the system, and I can see like other guys using it, and also like they were not into prom, and which is quite hard for most of the guys. I mean, in Australia, maybe not, because the surf level is super high, but for the rest of the world, I mean, not rest of the world, but for like many other places, I think it's kind of tricky to have the proper condition and to have the skill to be able to surf and all this. It's not, I mean, all know prone is not the easiest sport, but definitely the assist bring much more people to be able to have this feeling, which is actually super good, and doesn't mean that they're going to go in a surf spot, because many guys are kind of talking about this. I think this definitely there is a question there, but I think again, like I always answer, it's you don't want to go with your assist in a packed surf spot, but it's just so good to be out to catch like whatever swell you're going to go. So actually I don't see much less surfers since I use the assist than when I was on the prone, being like on the white water. It's could be even more dangerous actually than being far out by yourself, just having fun, whatever way existing. So yeah, definitely something cool.
Yeah, look, I've tried surfing over the years, and I think to some degree it's hard to learn because I've learned how to paddle really well, because I paddle out there, and if you're not a good surfer, the person next to you that's any better than you is first on the wave, and you end up spending your time paddling around. Well, that's my experience anyway. I'm not going to claim to be a great surfer. So using a system like a foil assist system is probably my entry into finally getting up on some waves away from everyone else without having to look over my shoulder and paddle like mad. Sounds really good to me. Yeah. We sort of touched on a little bit before, some people are going to have come from other foil assists. What's the adjustment period? What's going to be different for them? Clearly the remote Is there anything else, balance, takeoff technique or anything like that they need to be thinking about?
Clearly the remote, because they are using a trigger. Most of I think it's only trigger is existing. So I think the trigger to the plus minus speed, I think it's something you have to get used to it. Not to take off, but I would think like when you kick out from the wave and you want to re-engage, I think with the trigger, you just press and go. But I think with the speed, then you kind of have to jump on the speed to go back on the speed 4 or 5 or 6, depending how you feel. But for me, I feel like even better because I know exactly which speed I'm going to go. So it's like, just like I don't even think about it and I go and click it and I know it's going to be like the perfect speed and I'm not going to be like too much on it. As our system, again, it's like really powerful. So we think like that's also some stuff that they can feel also like direct. Now there is new stuff coming, but I would think like today, it's definitely like the thing is also, it's like more powerful, which they can be like pretty surprised if they come to that is maybe less powerful to our system. I think they will clearly feel like, whoa, okay, there is really this power in it, which at the end, I mean, it's 5 minutes to get used to it. And after it's just like a really no problem. And for the balance, if they really, really used to existing one with the weight on the ball and coming back on a no weight on the ball, maybe there is a little bit different also. But I would think this is just positive and no need to adapt, kind of natural to have something light. So I think it's a differences, but nothing to really adapt to the system. And honestly, the leash and the harness, you don't even feel. So I think it's more like, I would say like, yeah, the remote between the trigger and speed, that could be like the things need to adapt mostly when you kick out from the weight, I would think.
You touched on maintenance a little bit before. What's different or maybe there isn't any difference? Is there any difference in maintenance routine that people need to be aware of?
Yeah, maintenance, actually, it's a really good question. For sure, you need to rinse your system. I mean, it's kind of basic things to do. But there's no like a huge maintenance. I would say like on our system, when I talk about maintenance, it's more like being careful on your batteries. I would say like this is our main differences compared to what could exist. To really, every time you use our system, it's to put back our batteries to the storage mode, which like you don't have to do it right away and run to do it. It's not this, but just like keep knowing that you have to put it back. You use your batteries, you put back on the storage mode. It's going to take like 30 minutes. And then next day you want to go again, boom. And it's like 30 minutes only to charge again. But not only this, if you didn't use your battery, it's same like you charge it. And at the end, you didn't go on the water for whatever reason, then it's also need to put it back on the charger and it's going to discharge to the storage mode basically. So this is something like, I would say like one of the big difference at the moment that we have compared to what existing. And that's something I'm really pushing to make sure. I mean, we warning and mark everywhere on the product, but I would say like something that clients really need to clearly know. And the second one is the box where we put the battery is not to put any water in basically for the connection of it. So, the inside part of the box is not waterproof. So we have to be careful for that. Basically that's it. I mean, nothing else like can put like WD-40 or similar stuff on the bearing. I think this is good not to leave the belt on the motor if you're not using it, mostly if you didn't rinse your product. So, I mean, kind of like easily maintenance to use on our product, nothing special. And the other part, if anything happened, that was part of the design and the things we push with Duotone is whatever happened in our product is definitely like easy to change. You know, whatever we have like a bearing or whatever cable or whatever, then you can, I mean, everyone can change it. You don't need like a special service. I mean, we have the service with the distribution, but it's pretty easy that everyone can change it super easily, basically. So that's important also. I think. But yeah, not special maintenance. Nothing really special.
Yeah. And I think people are getting more and more used to thinking about maintenance for lithium batteries, no matter what sort of type they are, from camping and etc. They're getting pretty common. And they've got lots of advantages, but yeah, they do need some maintenance. So it's a good tip. We'll make sure that message gets out there to people. For those that have now listened to this and want to get their hands on one, what's the timing like? I know you've been working on it for a long time and getting it to market. Where can people expect them to be in and where can they try them?
So basically it's going to be out now. I mean, everything has been shipped already. So I think actually it's going to arrive first in Australia. So it's going to be, I would say like this week to end of the month.
Wow.
If all of the shipping is, I mean, I cannot control the shipping, but basically it's really coming in the next few weeks. And first in Australia and then coming in Europe right after, but I think it's a few years before arriving in Australia, before Europe and US. So it's on the way, basically.
That's exciting.
It is,
Thank you.
No, it's good. And in Australia,
Thank
also
you
you
from
have
all
like,
of us.
actually the right time right now, and it's like good condition and good level and good stuff. It's really cool to have the product, and I cannot wait to have the feedback already on it. And yeah, I think
So many brands understandably launch products in our winter or just coming out of our winter, but not quite summer. So this is quite a difference for us. We're normally watching everyone around the world try new gear in lovely sunny conditions when we're looking at the rain here in Australia. So all right. Well, we're pretty happy about that, I'd have to say. Yeah.
but it's a good, I mean, it's a little bit late for some countries for sure. But in the other hand, I think it's also like the wave period. Like if you talk about Europe, it's actually where the wave is the best. So I think it works. The timing, it's not the best, but it's hard to fit worldwide. It's hard to fit for everyone. But this time it will be Australia first.
Yeah. Fantastic. I think it's time for some quick fire questions now. If you could foil anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you go?
I think I will go back to Tahiti.
Tahiti? Yeah. What is it about there that you love?
I think the all kind of condition that you can have from like kind of solid wave, not only for me, but maybe to watch like Mate to Tiopo and then having fun to another break. And you have like a lot of rolling swell going like really inside the lagoon, and you have like a downwind option, and you have some kind of big bump on the other place. So it's kind of like in a short area, you can basically foil and have like all kind of condition you want, and mostly watch like one of those best guys out there kind of ripping in it. So yeah, I will say that. I would say, and pretty empty actually, not super crowded.
What's the most underrated skill a foil rider should practice, do you think?
I think like proper position on the board. I think it's something like a proper position like compared to where you put the mast on the board. I think it's definitely something that should spend time on it.
Yeah. Okay. What's the most rewarding thing about foiling for you?
I think be able to go wherever you want in all kind of condition and have fun. I think definitely I would think that.
And if you were to describe foiling in one word, what would that word be for you?
Freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's I agree with that one. And what's the best advice you've ever received about foiling?
Let's keep the foil going, like until the limit of the foil stall, and I think it does. It changed a lot for me a long time before, because most of the time you want to put energy on the foil all the time pumping or accelerating or whatever, which the foil most of the time, if you have the proper position on the board, then it's going to just keep going until a limit time. So I think that's one guy told me this that's really long time ago, and then that definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah. So just let it ride out rather than trying to push it around.
Yeah, try to push energy, because too many times you press too hard and the foil gonna stall. And I think actually the foil can really keep you going even at some low speed. And I think the guys, it's not that, but I think if you are like into the sport, getting into it, I think it's definitely something that you have to feel the limit of the foil, I think, like before it's stalled at proper placement on the board.
What's your next big foiling adventure or challenge on the horizon?
I mean, in terms of R&D or in terms of...
Well, it could be your personal foiling adventure, or it could be an R&D challenge, whichever one you want to go for there. You've just done a big challenge getting this thing to market, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would say like that was my biggest challenge. So I think this one was really, really tough. We had many before, but this one I would say it was the biggest one, and coming now to release it, I would say like just did the one. I definitely have some more coming, and maybe like on the travel, maybe like to do some stuff to go in some kind of condition, Iceland or Greenland place. It's kind of like my next trip I would like to do. But the challenge itself was the assist.
And last question, what would you like people to be saying when they try the Duotone Foil Assist?
So many of it, I can say. I think the feeling of, for those guys who are already foiling pretty good, that they can still push them in some direction, and that they don't feel like there is any weight or any disadvantage of the product. I would say like for those guys, I will think like this will be the best from what I wish I can hear. And I think I would say like the best one is the guy never had like the opportunity to have that feeling of gliding in a wave or swell, not even wave, but a swell. And then with the assist, he's going to be able to do it and get like just so stoked, like being able to have that feeling, which is like definitely like a drug. Like when you start one time on that, and I think you cannot, I mean, you have to keep going forever. So I would think like those two directions, I think.
I tend to think all foiling products should be subsidized by some sort of mental health initiative because it's so good for mental health, getting out there and, happy days, social, etc. And I can see people having an absolute ball on your product. Thank you so much for your time, Cyril. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure to have you on the Foilers podcast.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. And I hope, many guys can have a chance to test the product soon and definitely have fun with it. Yeah.